Hi, I'm Julita, and I work as a housekeeper at a fancy hotel in the city. After I graduated high school, my parents forced me to take a part-time job because, according to them, I was a spoiled brat who had no clue how the real world worked. And between working for my father at his diner and cleaning after people, I chose the second. At least I could work alone with no one bossing me around. So I started to work at the hotel. Everything went smoothly. I learned the process quickly and had my own schedule. But after a while, I got bored. So I started going through people's stuff. Don't judge. I didn't know the people who stayed at the hotel, so spying on them was harmless. It was just pure fun. At first, I just looked through the things left on the bedside table. But they were pretty boring, so I started going through the closets, and there I found weird costumes, wigs, interesting pictures, love letters, strange shoes, and all. One time I was cleaning the biggest, most luxurious suite in our hotel, the one only wealthy people could afford. I finished cleaning the rooms, and then it was time to do some digging. I opened the closet and found a gorgeous golden Dior dress. It was sparkly and took my breath away. Wow! Even in my wildest dreams, I wouldn't get the chance to wear something like this. So, without giving it a second thought, I tried it on. It was amazing and it fit me so well to the point I thought it was specially made for me. I stood in front of the big mirror and pretended to be an actress receiving her first Oscar, bowing and throwing kisses to the crowds. But then I heard a clicking sound. Someone was trying to open the door. I started to panic. Oh my God, they'll catch me and I'll be fired, or even worse, I'll go to jail for using other people's things. I tried to take the dress quickly off, but I couldn't. The zipper got stuck in the middle. So I did the next obvious thing. I went under the bed. A man entered the room. I saw him walking around and talking on the phone saying, "I just need a girl to pretend she's my date for a night. I got the dress and I'll pay her $3,000. Find me one as soon as possible." Then he took a suitcase and got out. I got up, changed back into my uniform, and got out of there. That was close. But I couldn't forget what the man said. $3,000 for a night? That's like my monthly salary. And he was probably talking about the dress I was wearing. I could be the girl he was asking for. But how can I make it happen? I stalked the man for 2 nights in a row, and I noticed that he spends his time in the lobby. On the 3rd night, I decided to make my move. I wore the best dress I had with some makeup on and went to speak to him. "Hey, handsome, are you new here?" I asked. He looked at me and smiled. "Yes, what about you?" His name was Troy. We started talking, and it wasn't long until he said, "Listen, I normally don't do this, but you seem really nice. I need a girl to accompany me to a party and pretend to be my girlfriend. Just for one night. Would you be interested?" I waited until he mentioned the money thing, but he kept quiet. But I didn't want to miss my chance, so I immediately said yes. We agreed to meet at the hotel. He took me straight to his room. A glam team was waiting there. A man did my hair and makeup, and a woman helped me wear the golden dress. I had to pretend to see it for the first time. In an hour, I was looking like one of those Hollywood actresses. That man got some money. When we were in the car, I asked him, "So where are we going?" And he calmly said, "To my ex's wedding." I screamed, "What? How is that possible? Are you even invited?" And he responded, "Yes, because she's marrying my best friend." I gasped, but I didn't say anything back. The situation seemed messy and I didn't want to meddle into it, so I stopped asking questions. I just took a few photos of me wearing the dress for my Instagram account. Everyone has to see me in it. Then we got to the wedding. It was like a fairy tale wedding. Roses everywhere, a band playing, and people dressed super nice. Was everyone here rich but me? Troy took my hand and went straight to the bride and groom to congratulate them. I noticed as we were getting closer, he was becoming more and more nervous. We were walking arm in arm, and I felt like he was squashing mine and not holding it. When we got there, he looked at the bride with eyes full of pain. Poor thing, he still had feelings for her. He said, "Congratulations." The bride smiled and nodded, but she didn't say anything back. So I decided to break that awkward silence by saying, "Congratulations. Troy told me that you two used to date. Thanks for letting him go. I couldn't ask for a better man." Troy smiled and the bride looked irritated. We left her standing and went dancing. He was laughing hard. He said, "Wow, you were really good at this. Did you see her face?" And I responded, "First rule of a breakup, show them that you're better off without them, even if you're not." He kept laughing. We danced, had dinner, and the night turned out to be quite lovely. Troy was a really cool guy. We left the party and went roaming in the streets. We passed by one of those ice cream trucks. I yelled at the driver, "Stop the car!" Troy was startled. I got out and bought 2 ice cream cones for us. This, my friend, is the best $2 ice cream you will ever have in your life. Then I took him to a special place where we could see the city from above, with all the lights and noises. At 3 o'clock in the morning, we got back to the hotel. We were tired but excited about the fun we just had. I headed to his room to change the dress and get my clothes, but Troy said, "You can keep it. I haven't had this much fun in a long time thanks to you." I couldn't believe what he was saying. That dress cost more than $20,000. I tried to say no, but he wouldn't accept, so I went home with the dress. The next day, I got back to work. I felt like I had my Cinderella night and it was over. Reality check. But when I was going out of the elevator with my cleaning cart, I saw Troy heading towards me. I freaked out and I instantly pushed the button and the door closed. For some reason, I didn't want him to know that I was just a housekeeper. I felt embarrassed by it, and I wanted him to remember me as the nice girl who he had a great time with, not a gold digger. So I tried to avoid him during his stay at the hotel. Whenever I saw him coming, I would go to the other side, and I asked Anita, a woman who works with me, to clean his suite. That way, I made sure I don't run into him by accident. But I couldn't stop thinking of him. I watched him from a distance when he was having coffee in the lobby or having lunch in a hotel. He was so handsome. But then, a week later, our hotel arranged a conference for businessmen. The hotel manager asked us to work as waiters that night for extra money. I had to do it. I could use the extra money and the tipping I'd get. Troy was in the room. This time, however, he was with a beautiful girl, blonde with blue eyes, wearing a stunning white dress. I tried to avoid them all night, and I managed to do so. But the more I noticed Troy flirting with the girl, the more pissed I became. Who the hell was she? I know I just met him a week ago, but I felt like she was taking my place and that I should be the one wearing that dress and enjoying the evening. I was jealous. I had a strong feeling of wanting to ruin the night for her. So when Troy was talking to some men, I came close and asked if she'd like a drink. When she said no, I purposefully shook the tray in my hand and all the drinks fell over her dress. The dress was full of stains. It got ruined and I smiled inside. Yet before I got the chance to apologize, the girl said in a nasty voice, "What a jerk. Can't you do your job properly? Do you have any idea how much this dress cost?" Her loud voice brought attention, people started looking at us, and I found myself in a sticky situation. "I'm truly sorry." I thought that she'd accept my apology and go change, but it seemed that I unleashed the beast in her. She yelled, saying, "If the stains do not go off, you'll pay for a new one." What? I can't afford that. I started to panic and got really nervous. Stupid me, what have I done? I kept apologizing. "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I'll get it cleaned, I promise." Then Troy came. He was surprised to see me wearing a uniform. He said to the girl to calm her down, "Don't worry, I'll get you another one." Then he looked at me and asked, "Where have you been? I've been looking all over for you. What are you doing here? Why are you dressed like this?" I responded, "I'm working. I'm a housekeeper. I work at the hotel." Troy looked confused. He realized that he was going out with a cleaning lady. So he said, "This is not appropriate. You should be working somewhere else." What? Was he now lecturing me about how to live my life? I was furious. So I said, "Working here is not appropriate, but paying people to accompany you to parties is?" He was shocked. He asked, "What do you mean?" I didn't answer. I just cleaned the mess and left. But something worse happened. The girl that was with Troy wanted to take revenge. She knew that me spilling the drinks was not a mistake. She asked the hotel manager to see the cameras, and when they did, they saw me do it on purpose. I was fired. When I went home, my parents yelled at me for getting fired. "You're useless. You can't handle a single job. What a loser." And for the first time in my life, I felt like they spoke the truth. I was a horrible person, only causing trouble. I needed to change. So I got out of their house, I went to another city, and I stayed in an apartment with 2 other girls. It wasn't much, but that was what I could afford back then. And there was something good that I learned about me from that unforgettable experience, and that was I loved fashion. So I started going to a school that had fashion designing programs, and I took a job as a sales assistant and worked my way up. 6 years later, I became the head manager of a famous designing company. I became successful, and I proved my parents wrong. I just wished I could speak to Troy and thank him. If it weren't for that dress, I wouldn't have found my true passion in life. But then, while I was working at my office, a magazine called to interview me, and I agreed. And the interviewer asked me, "So how did you fall in love with fashion? It seems strange because your family has nothing to do with it. They own a diner, don't they?" I smiled and told them about the golden dress. I told them the first part of the story. They found it amusing and romantic, so they asked me to take a picture of the dress. I didn't mind. However, 2 days later, I got a phone call. The speaker said, "I thought you forgot about our adventure. I thought I'd never see you again." I smiled.
It all started out like a typical Thursday at my high school. Everyone was getting excited for the weekend and the upcoming backwards dance. The backwards dance was something that my school does every year. The girls asked the boys to the dance instead of the boys asking the girls. There was usually some big proposals when girls would get down on one knee and ask their boyfriend to the dance with them. One time, a girl even painted her entire body and ran through the school naked, asking her boyfriend if he would go to the dance with her. Things can get crazy, but I'd never really thought about going to the dance. I'd never been to a dance before, at least not with a boy. My best friend forever, Alicia, knew how much I liked Blake, the cutest boy on the basketball team. However, she also knew talking to Blake makes me stutter, slur my words, and basically make myself look like a fool. I've had a crush on Blake since 3rd grade, and although we have been friends for some time, we've never been close enough to where I could be my real self around him. Apparently, Alicia didn't care about how crazy I felt in front of Blake, because on this Thursday morning, as soon as she saw Blake strolling into the boys' bathroom next to her locker, she quickly grabbed me by both my shoulders and shoved me into the bathroom, slamming the door behind me. Now, mind you, I've never been in a boys' bathroom. I have to say, it looks pretty similar to a girl's bathroom, except probably a bit smellier, and the urinals. Ew. At first, I was super confused as to why she would so forcefully put me in the bathroom. What was this horrible prank she was playing on me? I did not want to get in trouble if I was caught in the boys' bathroom. I tried to push the door open, but Alicia was standing in front of it. From the outside of the door, I heard her say, "You'll thank me for this later." I didn't think I would. And now I was afraid to turn around. I didn't know what Blake was doing, but there was a whole row of urinals behind me. I hadn't even kissed Blake yet. I definitely didn't want to see him using the bathroom. What if someone else was in here too? Oh no, my face was starting to turn beet red. "Cara?" Blake said, surprised. I spun around quickly and saw that he was stepping up to the sink. I let go of the door handle and gave him the weirdest, hopefully cute, smile I could muster. Hi, Blake," I said, wiping my sweaty palms on my jeans. "What are you doing here?" He pointed to the sink and turned on the water. "I had to take a leak. The question is, what are you doing here?" he asked, looking at me through the mirror above the sink. Man, he was hot. I pushed the door once more to see if Alicia was still there. The door wouldn't budge, and I heard a quick "nope" from the other side. Dang it. She's trapped me in the bathroom with a hot boy. I stepped away from the door and walked closer to Blake. "Alicia locked me in here." "Why?" he asked, looking at the door, then back at me. "She wants me to ask you something." My hands were trembling. I needed something to play with, but all I could see were dirty paper towels, so I stuck my hands in my pockets and went on. "I was hoping that maybe you would go to the dance with me," I asked, but it probably didn't sound as cool in real life as it does here. He turned off the water in the sink and stared at me. At this point, I could look anywhere but at his face. If he said no, I would be devastated. Not only because of the rejection, but because I know he would go tell everyone I stalked him in the boys' bathroom. All of a sudden, a huge smile spread across his face. "You didn't have to come try and see me naked to ask me. I'd love to go to the dance with you." My eyes lit up and I almost screamed in excitement. Instead, I kept my cool and nodded. "Awesome. I can't wait. My dress is blue, so see you Saturday," he said as he walked toward the bathroom door. He tried to push it open, but Alicia was still there. "Stop being annoying and ask him, Cara," she shouted from the other side. "It's Blake." I said yes. The door swung open and Alicia ran inside to give me a hug. "Now, when you guys get married, promise you won't have your ceremony in the bathroom," she exclaimed. I blushed just as the first bell rang. Once more, Alicia shoved me into Blake, and we gave each other a big hug. My face was still red as a tomato. Alicia put her arms around my shoulders and gave me a big squeeze as we said goodbye to Blake. I squealed in excitement, almost jumping up and down. I said, "As much as I hate you right now, I love you even more." Alicia just laughed with an "I told you so" look in her eyes. The rest of the day went by without a hitch. Alicia and I were laughing in first period, thinking of places to go for dinner before the dance, and people to hang out with afterward. I was hoping, since Blake was on the basketball team, that he would know of some awesome parties we could go to after the dance. Alicia had a boyfriend, Thomas, who she'd been dating for over a year. He was going to pick us up in his car, and we figured we could just meet Blake at the restaurant. Everything changed around lunch. When lunchtime came around, all I heard whispered throughout the halls was how super dorky Kara asked out Blake. And he said yes, since he felt really awkward because Kara was watching him pee. Obviously, I'm Kara, and this isn't how it happened. You can't convince a bunch of teenagers anything different, though. Everyone was staring at me as I walked to lunch. I tried to hold my head high, but the whispering was getting to me. As soon as I saw Blake in the lunchroom, I went right up to him and said, "What's this I hear about you getting asked out by a dorky Kara in the bathroom?" I crossed my arms. I hope I looked intimidating, but probably not. After all, I'm only 5 feet tall. Blake was 6'1" and towered over me. Without even looking down at me, he said, "What are you talking about? I don't even know you." Just as I scoffed and was about to turn away, Alicia came up behind me with her phone in her hand. It showed a picture of Blake and I hugging after we came out of the bathroom. She showed all of his friends, which started a round of oohs and ahs. Blake was trapped now. His friends were waiting expectantly for him to say something, but he only hung his mouth open. Alicia was about to start talking again, but I put my hand on her arm to stop her. "I really just don't think you're masculine enough for me." I then looked at his friends and said, "Just so you know, big shoes don't always mean big." Then Alicia pulled me away. The teacher was coming, and she didn't want me to get yelled at. We could hear Blake's friends making fun of him as we walked away. Everyone in the lunchroom was staring, so I put my head in my hands and ran to the bathroom. The girls' bathroom this time. Alicia followed me and pulled me into the stall. I was really upset because I didn't understand why Blake would be so mean when he was so nice in the bathroom. Soon, we heard the door open and the scuffling of feet. 2 blue Air Jordans popped up under the stall, and a knock came on the stall door. "Kara?" It was Blake. "Get out," I said, sniffling. "I'm sorry I said that you were dorky and made fun of you for asking me to dance. The truth is, I don't know how to dance, and I actually have a crush on Alicia." My mouth dropped. My stomach flipped. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Alicia quickly grabbed Blake by the hand and pulled him into the stall. What happened next, I will never forget for the rest of my life. I thought Alicia was going to kiss Blake, but instead, she grabbed him by the back of the head and thrust it into the toilet. "Quick, Kara, flush!" she screamed. I'm not sure why I reached for that toilet handle, but I did, and we gave Blake the best swirly I've ever seen. Granted, I've only seen that one, but still, it was the best. Alicia pulled Blake's head up quickly, his face wet and his nose running. "Why did you say yes to my best friend if you didn't actually want to go to the dance with her?" Blake looked at Alicia. "I wanted to get close to you." She dunked his head again, and I flushed. "For one thing, I have a boyfriend, and for another thing, I would never, ever, ever date someone my BFF had a crush on." We may have flushed him a couple more times, but since we were afraid someone would come into the bathroom, I finally told Alicia to stop. He was drenched, and who knows the last time that toilet was cleaned, or how many girls had sat on it since this morning. Blake was able to stand up, but as soon as he got to the stall door, Alicia said, "And you better not ever tell anyone who did this to you. Oh, and one more thing. You better go tell everyone that you lied about Kara and that she is way too cool for you to go out with." "What if I don't?" Blake asked. "Then next time, it won't be a swirly." She lunged at him like she was going to hit him, but he jumped and ran out of the stall. When he left the bathroom, I couldn't do anything but stare at Alicia. I had never seen her like this in my life. She was such a badass and stuck up for me. I loved her more than ever. The next day at school, Friday, everyone was talking about how Blake didn't show up. He said he was sick, but everyone believed he was too embarrassed to come back to school after what happened the day before. People kept coming up to me and asking if I really saw Blake with his pants down in the bathroom, and all I had to do was scrunch my nose and say, "Unfortunately." Blake hasn't bothered me since that day. In fact, we had a great time at the dance on Saturday. We as in Alicia and I. We went together. She let her boyfriend stay home. We spent the whole day getting ready, doing our hair and makeup. It was probably the best day of my life. And to think all of this happened because she pushed me into the boys' bathroom and locked me in there.